If you're considering investing in skills training for your sales team, or perhaps setting another year's sales training budget, you're no doubt considering at least some element of live workshop training. It's an equation that requires a meaningful ROI to justify the decision to remove people from the field, even for one day. At Richardson, we understand the immediate value that can be created when your customer-facing teams change the way in which they interact with your buyers. Yet all too often, the analysis around the economics of training misses the mark. Understanding the cost when skills plateau, or the upside that comes with elevating your game, sets the stage for a decision on whether to train. Then, 3 simple variables determine the economics. First, explicit costs. Explicit costs are those incurred when training, design and development and delivery are sourced from a third-party provider. More than anything else, these are easiest to understand and influence based on the scope. And as such, it's these costs that typically get the most attention in the economic analysis. Purchasers spend a considerable amount of time seeking strategies to drive down explicit costs, and there's nothing wrong with a well-run procurement process. But gains made here have little effect on the overall economics of training. Why? Because our next 2 variables have an exponential effect that outweighs any pluses or minuses here. Implied costs. Taking quota-bearing, expensive and often distributed sales professionals out of the field for training should never be done without very careful consideration for what's at stake. Easy-to-measure costs such as travel and accommodation need to be added to the cost of lost productivity for sales professionals and sales managers alike. Understanding contribution by rep per day and building this into the cost side of the equation must be done to really understand what's at stake when you decide to train. At Richardson, we minimize time out of the market while building skills by combining instructor-led classroom learning with mobile optimized digital learning programs. This dual approach offers efficacy and cost efficiency. Implied costs often run at 3 times or more explicit costs. Benefit realization. This is why you train, right? All too often we neglect the other side of the training balance sheet. Leaders must quantify the benefit expected with a reasonable degree of confidence for a number of reasons. First of all, unless you understand the economic impact of how changes in customer-facing behavior influence critical operational metrics, your analysis will only ever be one-sided. The case for training will likely never pass the common sense test. Secondly, and just as importantly, it's the very act of working through this analysis that drives the consensus with stakeholders on what you hope to achieve and how you'll know that you have achieved a successful outcome when it happens. Without this step in the process, most training initiatives will falter as time passes. Critical selling metrics across 3 dimensions, operational, talent and financial, allow you to create a financial model and calculate return based on a range of outcomes anticipated. You should expect your training provider to help you build these financial models based on results that they have delivered with similar clients in comparable industries. Learn more at richardson.com.